And good morning. You're flying Tironan's Unfriendly Skies. Today we have the long-awaited F-84F Thunderjet. And you'll notice some things different about the aircraft immediately. One of them is it has the swept wings. And this was an actual evolution that took place. The Thunderjet was an effective but not altogether happy aircraft for the U.S. Air Force. It had a bad habit of pitching up at 0.84 Mach and promptly disintegrating. The airframe couldn't handle it. One of the things done to address the situation was to go to swept wings. It already happened with the F-86 with very happy results, and they did it with this aircraft as well. It didn't solve everything, but it did solve a lot of the problems with the aircraft. Certainly the Mach number went up. It was a happier coincidence, and they got to redesign the airframe a little more. Some of the faults with the aircraft still existed, and you can see there actually, as this Mach number goes up, how the aircraft is shimmering and shaking around. That was a real thing. Okay, so some of the strengths of the aircraft are you can go to an all-rocket armament for your ordnance. And that gives you the advantage of not having to be on the deck and take damage from bombs. I would urge you to make use of it. One of the other things is that you do still retain the all-cannon armament, or the all-machine gun armament, I should say. Please note the correction. That being said, the aircraft, depending on how you outfit it, can be incredibly nimble. Its base 360 turn time is 10.8. With even minimal modifications, you get that down to 10.6. And when you start climbing up the scales and you start speccing the aircraft, you can get it down to 10.4, 10.3 would be my belief, and your pilot skills, of course. And that makes it an extremely competitive dogfighter in most cases. No, you're still not going to be able to deal with the LA-15 in a turn, nor are you going to be able to deal with the Yak-30 in a turn fight. But there's an awful lot of aircraft out there that are not the LA-15, the Yak 30, or thereabouts, the 9-second, 8-second 360 fighters. And you have machine guns, which are both a blessing and a curse. I will tell you that at short range, and you really don't want to open up with these until your machine guns, till you're 1,500 yards or less. The bullets disperse too much. I've talked about this before. Bucko and I discussed this at length, and I have come to the conclusion that he's absolutely right. What you do get is, with this aircraft, is a lot of versatility. And it is the multi-op, still, in my opinion, that gets it right. I mean, if you wanted your ultimate fantasy, then you'd want three M or four M39 cannons, and this thing would be just about as good as it gets. But, come on. Boy, would that be an multi-op, wouldn't it? The thing about this aircraft is you can go to, with a full loadout, go to the large armor targets and take them out every time. You have no less than 12 Havar rockets. You have no less than 2 of those honking teeny Tim rockets. And so it doesn't take a genius to figure out that if you launch your big ones and then the big teaming Tims, and you then use your Havar rockets to clean up, there's no target at present in the game that you can't take out. It also has a further utility to you in the fact that if you get behind a bomber stream, you usually don't like going after bombers with machine guns. Well, that's fine because you also can come after them with 12 rockets. So when you think about it, it doesn't have to be an RM4 to make a difference here, right? So you can get behind a bomber package and start picking them off with rockets. And that's not a bad thing at all. And if somebody comes at you head on, you can also unload rockets on them then. Now they do 1,500 points of damage. Even GA going head to head with you is going to notice when they get hit with one. Now, if they get hit with two, even if you are in an IL-40 fully tricked out for hit points, well, you can watch as your plane turns into an aluminum shower, can't you? So it's a very useful aircraft. And as GA go, it's as good as they get. Because the minute you unload your rockets, you are a great fighter. Well, not a great fighter, but you're a very decent fighter. And that's always been the wonder of the F-84 in this game. Historically, no. But I will tell you that in the Korean War, 60% of all damage done by fighter bombers, by actual aerial attack, was done by this aircraft. The F-84B and F. And they were extremely good at what they did. Now, these were dedicated fighter bombers. That didn't stop the pilots from shooting down enemy aircraft. In fact, they did. But that's not what they were good at. What they were really good at is dropping bombs and rockets and napalm on enemy troops and convoys, and my oh my did they do that very well indeed. Alright, so when you look at this, you really can get the job done with this aircraft. It can fulfill the role of a GA to a certain extent. Now the reload times are not going to let you be a GA, but you can affect the game with your ground attack components, and that's really as much as you can ask for any multi-ops fighter. It's not a joke. Now you'll see here in this run, I let them go, and that's it. We're done. We have wrapped it up, and we now have 4 of the 5 sectors delivered. Still have 3 rockets left, but I'm having no trouble going after this starfighter at all. That's the beauty of the plane. So if you want the true all-rounder, ground attack and fighter capabilities, this is a pretty good match. Now you can say, yeah, well, Judd, if I can get this out of the British lines, and you can, but they always, 2 things about them, they're always very fast. You think that's a great thing, but they're always very fast with a couple of problems. They don't turn. And if you think that the reload time on this is slow, the British line seems to be slower. At least that's how it feels to me right now. I haven't done a line-by-line comparison yet. And the fact that you don't ever have to let off on the trigger makes it helpful. It's also got a good hit point pool. So as you can see, you get good stuff here. I got number one in this particular deal. This was not just robots or something. This was a fair contest on the Candy Crush, uh, with the Candy Crush route going on, and so everybody and his brothers up here fighting to the hardest they can, so they can get their candy and their goodies, and so that's not an easy road. And I'll let you read the thing for yourself. I don't need to do it for you. And we had a pretty good time with this. Now, I'm not going to tell you this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's not, but it's a darn good fighter. Darn good fighter. Fighter bomber. And as far as the game goes, it gets the job done pretty darn well. We'll line this up for a second go around. But there's an awful lot of things about this that I like. And I think it's a good fit. For those of you who don't know, I went ahead and got rid of the Cutlass. It's an aircraft I don't fly. I ended up with using a pilot that I had tied up with it that was not doing anything, and he's one of my better pilots, and he was stuck in an aircraft that I didn't play. Okay, so bottom line here is that plane is gone, and if I have other videos on it if you want to go back and look at them, but I'm just not going to carry it in my lineup. If somebody's absolutely got to see that aircraft, let me know, but you better have about 6,500 $6,500,000 silver that you're willing to donate to the cause. Seriously, I'm not going to do it otherwise. It's just how I feel. There's a lot of work goes into getting these planes up and running, and if you absolutely want me to play a certain aircraft, you better be willing to donate to the cause. All right, if I have the aircraft, that may be another story. And by the way, I only do that for subscribers. All right. Got to be some benefit to subscription, right? Okay, so that being said, we are now doing on our map here, and we are after the mining plant, making our first run at it, and we have enemy aircraft in the vicinity. Three of them. One thing I should mention is it's a relatively quick aircraft as well. And I'm doing the one thing I don't like doing, which is using a machine gun fighter against a GA. Usually just a very poor outcome, but I felt like I had to take this guy out very quickly or we were going to lose control of the mining plant. And in this particular map, if you do that, you lose the game. Alright, it's just as straightforward as that. If you absolutely want to make sure that you're going to lose the map, don't control the mining plant. Now, in this particular case, killing the GA is probably more useful than anything else I can do. This thing has a pretty nasty stinger in its tail. In this case, it's not going to make a whole heck of a lot of difference. We own the plant, time to get on to something else. But we have superiority, so back to killing GA. And I'm tossing the occasional rocket in here, trying to see if I can get a quick kill. Again, if you're not just absolutely wind up and zero deflection, doesn't work all that hot. Alright, so I am still playing fighter with this thing with a full ordnance load, or almost full ordnance load. But it's perfectly good for going after P228s, and you're going to see a lot of them. And that's the end of him. Like I said, 4 M39 cannons would be a better armament package. That wouldn't be per the game, but, you know, that would be my preference. All right. Overall evaluation of the aircraft. It's a good multi-op fighter. You just don't run across that very often in this game, and this very well may be the best of them. Haven't played everything in Tier 10 yet. That is coming one day, but right now, probably the best multi-op in the game. Very capable of influencing the entire tide of the battle used correctly. And higher praise than that I don't really give. Now, this is a long way from being thoroughly maxed out. You'll get another one as I get further along. Y'all have a great day. Remember to subscribe and like the video. Thank you very much.